Connectivity, mobility, communication, these are all great. But where technology makes the greatest impact is where it affects human lives. Macular degeneration is a cruel disease. You first lose the sight right in the middle, and then it spreads, and eventually you can't see anything. Now there's a new chip that hopes to imitate a human retina. It doesn't really restore eyesight, but it teaches the brain to reinterpret sight. It's a fascinating story. Have a watch.
This is Sheila. She used to love riding motorcycles and taking road trips until she got something called macular degeneration. It's a cruel disease that quietly destroys the cell that let you see what's right in front of you. You're not blind, not at first. You can still see things at the edges, just not the people you love, the words you read, or the road ahead.
And my worst day was I sent my driving licence back. So I was at a scooter, a motorbike, and a car always, and I cried all day long that day. And then I said, no more. Now move on and get on with things.
There's no cure for macular degeneration, but now there's something close to a reprieve. A microchip smaller than a grain of rice that sits under the retina and acts like an artificial photoreceptor. It's called PRIMA. Surgeons remove a small part of the eye's vitreous jelly, slide the chip beneath the retina, and then seal it back. After that, patients wear special glasses. These are part camera, part translation devices that capture what they're looking at and project it back into the eye as patterns of light.
The microchip is an array of solar panels that is activated by light. So the patient puts on a pair of goggles. It has a video camera which captures the visual scene. So, for example, a book. The letters and words are then projected by the camera onto the chip wirelessly by infrared light, and it's all instantaneous.
It's not vision as we know it. It's hard to articulate what artificial vision can look like. It's a translation of the world into pulses of light and shadows that the brain then learns to reinterpret as sight. Imagine seeing not the details but the rhythm of movement, the boundaries of space, like the glimpse of a word as you read. That's what this technology restores, not clarity, but connection. Developed at Stanford and tested in London, the system turns visual data into electrical impulses that travel through what's left of the retina and up the optic nerve. The result is a kind of visual echo, the world reduced to outlines and fragments, but visible again. Researchers say that 80% of trial participants regained some ability to see. On average, they could read 5 lines on an eye chart. Before the surgery, they couldn't even see the chart.
It takes about several months for them to understand this new vision. But the most important thing with this device, which has never been demonstrated before with any device, is that patients can see what we can see.
For Sheila Irvine, it began with letters, then words. She describes the first time she saw print again, not clear enough to read, but enough to know that it was there.
I was an avid bookworm, and I want to read. So it's in me, I think, And when I was given a book, I couldn't see it at all. It was like getting a cloud out and put it on the page. It was just white.
Doctors say the chip doesn't replace vision, it coaxes it. It works with what's left of the eye, teaching the brain to reinterpret light, to see outlines, to read again, to recognize a face. For those afflicted with macular degeneration, it's a return to participation in life.
Shalom, giving all praises and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rachak, Kodash, the honors to the apostles, the bishops and the elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopefully elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth, wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Yeshua, Shalom. All right, getting to another AI chat. I want to get into something that I saw, yesterday. And I'm going to start here with this word, PRIMA, or PRIMA, however you pronounce it. Because that's what the name of this, I think the company is, this device that we're going to talk about. So it says PRIMA or PRIMA is a word with diverse meanings and uses depending on the language and context. The most common meanings include Latin and Italian origin, first or leading, all right, derived from the Latin primus or primus, meaning first, or prima, is the feminine form and is used in English in various compound phrases to denote something as first, leading, or most important. All right. So first or leading, all right, or most important. Okay. Prima donna. We don't really need that. Prima ballerina, prima facie. We don't really need those. Spanish and Italian language uses female cousin before. Skip that. Before in Italian, primo can also function as an adverb meaning before or earlier in a temporal context. German language uses excellent or great. In German, prima is used as an adjective or adverb to mean excellent, great, or fantastically. Other uses: baby name, brand name, acronym. Prima, da, 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 da. All right, so it's pretty much all you want from there. Those are the ones that stood out the most. The German language use, or prima, all right, it means excellent, great, or fantastically. And then you also have the Latin origin, meaning first, leading, or most important. All right, so now we'll jump over here to this. All right. Well, let's jump over here first. Let's get this. I'm going to go and get a couple of these other scriptures here because I put up the word devices. And as in all our AI chats, those that are familiar with them, we always go into the scripture, whether we come and read it or quote it. We always go into this scripture here, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And you get Satan here, Satanas, okay, adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act. All right, the name given to the prince of evil spirits, the inveterate adversary of the Most High and the Messiah. Okay, which is mostly speaking of the left-hand side, because just to throw in there that Satan, who the churches, represent about who he is, he's really controlled by the Lord on the left-hand side, all right? And the rulers of this world, the people who are Edomites, they pretty much do his bidding. So ultimately they do the will of the Heavenly Father just on the left-hand side, because Satan is controlled by the Heavenly Father, all right? There you go, right there, and that's the key right there, a Satan-like man. And so we're not talking about the spiritual demon or angel, however you want to put them, all right? Satan, okay? We're talking about the people of the earth, the so-called elite bankers, okay? So when it says to get advantage of us, to have more or greater part of share, look to be superior, excel, surpass, have an advantage over, to gain or take advantage of another, to overreach, all right? Which goes into the next word, which is ignorant. Agnoeo, I guess how you pronounce that. To basically to not to know, all right? To not understand or to know, okay? Of his devices, which is what we're about to talk about. All right, mental perception of thought, an evil purpose, that which thinks the mind, thoughts, or purposes. I think there's another thing we can get in here too. Noel. Yeah, to proceed with the mind, to understand, to have understanding, to think upon, heed, ponder, consider. Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, let's Satan should get an advantage of us if we're not ignorant of his devices. Okay, so let's go over here to what we want to talk about. I gotta get rid of that. So I got this from Stanford Medicine. All right, eye prosthesis is the first to restore sight lost to macular degeneration. Eye prosthesis is the first to restore sight lost to macular degeneration. Actually, I should have probably kept that. But you can look up macular degeneration on your own. I could have punched it up. Maybe we will. I'll at least, if I can, I'll at least grab it, because we might not even remember. So, in Stanford Medicine led a clinical trial of a wireless retinal prosthesis People with advanced macular degeneration regain enough vision to read books, and subway signs. Okay, and this is dated October 20th, 2025. I think when I saw this, it says, I think the furthest back it said at least 5 days old, if I'm correct. It was like 5 days old, so pretty much new, within a week. Simulation of a patient's vision with macular degeneration. On the right, it says, right, simulation of the patient's vision enhanced with the PRIMA eye prosthesis. And now, you see why I went into the word PRIMA, however you pronounce it, PRIMA. Okay. So a tiny wireless chip implanted in the back of the eye and a pair of high-tech glasses have partially restored vision to people with an advanced form of age-related macular degeneration. In a clinical trial led by Stanford medicine researchers and international collaborators, 27 out of 32 participants 27 out of 32 participants excuse me, have regained the ability to read a year after receiving the device. All right. So it says 27 out of 32 participants have regained the ability to read a year after receiving the device. With digital with digital enhancements enabled by the device, such as zoom and higher contrast, which those are normal things we have on computers, different laptops or cell phones and stuff like that, where you can adjust like the size of words and zoom in, and um, even like on television sets, like when you first get a new TV or whatever, flat screen or whatever, and you can go in and the colors and stuff like that are set, but maybe if you don't like it, you want things to be a little darker, a little brighter, you go in there, you adjust the brightness, the contrast, and the different colors and things of that nature. So this is, I guess, somewhat incorporated into this device. So with digital enhancements enabled by the device, such as zoom and higher contrast, some participants could read with acuity equivalent to 20/42 vision. The results of the trial were published October 20th in the New England Journal of Medicine. The device, called PRIMA, developed at Stanford Medicine, is the first eye prosthesis to restore functional sight to patients with incurable vision loss, giving them the ability to perceive shapes and patterns, also known as form vision. Okay, and so I'm pretty sure this technology sounds similar because you have other companies like Neuralink by Elon Musk, and I forget who runs the other one, but Synchron, okay, where they dabble around with similar technology. Okay, all previous attempts to provide vision with prosthetic devices resulted in basically light sensitivity, not really form vision. Oh, okay, I see what it's saying. It says it resulted in basically light sensitivity, not really form vision, said Daniel Palanker, PhD, a professor of ophthalmology and co-senior author of the paper. We are the first to provide form vision. Okay. The other senior author is Jose Alain Sahil, MD, professor of ophthalmology at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. The lead author is Frank Holtz, MD, professor of, okay, I don't care about all these names here. The two-part device consists of a small camera. Okay, yeah. So mounted on a pair of glasses, right? A two-part device consists of a small camera mounted on a pair of glasses that captures images and projects them in real time via infrared light to a wireless chip in the eye. And that's no different from how Synchron or especially Neuralink operates. Okay, whatever is system is broken, you got I don't know, one of the discs in your spine is messed up, and so the result is that you are fully paralyzed, and so they insert their electronic device that picks up on your electrical signals and your brain signals, fires off, but instead of going directly as normal, okay, through the human body, it goes instead to their device, and the device is opens up that extra pathway to go through to the spine or to the legs or whatever, and then sends the signal back to the brain, and then you get the function back, or motor function or whatever. Okay, so this is kind of how this is operating. It says it captures images and projects them in real time via infrared light to a wireless chip in the eye. The chip converts the images into electrical stimulation, effectively taking the place of natural photoreceptors that have been, there you go, see, have been damaged by disease. See, they take whatever's so-called broken, which really is just all of the will of the Lord. Everything that happens to everyone, all right, is nothing out of order. It's just everybody's lot, okay? But Esau is saying that, hey, I can fix all these things. Okay. The thing that this, that God, didn't fix, or he couldn't fix, I can do. And, that's all what Esau really does. Okay. And it's all through his so-called science. And this is Palanker, Daniel Palanker. I think he was the top guy or something like that. Anyways, PRIMA is the culmination of decades of development, prototypes, animal trials, and a small first in human trial. It always got the prototypes, of course, because they're in the lab cooking it up, seeing how it works, what it does, how they can operate it. Then they'll test it on the animals, right? Okay, and then what's that thing they always put up? No animals were harmed in the making of this video or movie or something like that. Well, in Esau's case, animals get harmed, all right, which you're not really going to hear about like that. But then a small first in human trial comes, of course, because this is what they're making it for anyways, the humans. Palanker first imagined such a device 20 years ago when he was working with ophthalmic lasers used to treat eye conditions. I realized we should use the fact that the eye is transparent and delivering information by light, he said. The device we imagined in 2005 now works in patients remarkably well. So replacing lost photoreceptors. Participants in the new trial had an advanced form of age-related macular degeneration known as geographic atrophy, okay? Geographic atrophy that gradually erodes central vision. Over 5 million people globally are affected by the condition, and it is the most common cause of irreversible blindness among the elderly. Macular degeneration destroys light-sensitive photoreceptors in the center of the retina. The thin, I can't see, the thin neural tissue in the back of the eye that converts light into electrical signals that then travel to the brain. But most patients retain some photoreceptor cells that allow peripheral vision, as well as the retinal neurons that relay information from photoreceptors. The device we imagined in 2005 now works in patients remarkably well. All right, Daniel Palanker. But check out what he says below. After making this remark, check out what's below, okay? So the new device takes advantage of what is preserved. The 2x2 millimeter chip that receives images is implanted in the part of the retina where photoreceptors have been lost. The chip is sensitive to infrared light projected from the glasses, unlike real photoreceptors that respond only to visible light, okay? So it's almost like it's artificial light, but not really, but it's, like I said, it's being projected from the glasses themselves. The projection is done by infrared because we want to make sure it's invisible to the remaining photoreceptors outside the implant. The design means patients can use their natural peripheral vision along with the prosthetic central vision, which helps the orientation and navigation. The fact that they see simultaneously prosthetic and peripheral vision is important because they can merge and use vision to its fullest. Because the chip is photovoltaic, meaning it needs only light to generate electric current. Okay, so there's a word for you. The chip is photovoltaic, meaning it needs only light to generate electric current. It can operate wirelessly and be implanted under the retina. Previous eye prostheses, which you should have seen, as I put this together in my editor, I'm probably going to play the video first and then go into this. So you've probably seen this by now in the video. All right. So previous eye prostheses required an external power source and a cable running out of the eye. Reading again. The new trial includes 38 patients, all right, older than 60, who had geographic atrophy due to age-related macular degeneration and worse than 320 vision in at least one eye. And real quick, because I want to let me see here. Man, I don't want to lose my page though. I want to go ahead into that word. We'll get it in a second. Macular degeneration, because I got a copy. Because I might lose this. So let's just wait. Okay, so 4 to 5 weeks after implantation of the chip in one eye, patients began using the glasses. Though some patients could make out patterns immediately, all patients' visual acuity improved over months of training. It may take several months of training to reach top performance, which is similar to what cochlear implants require to master prosthetic hearing. Of the 32 patients who completed the 1-year trial, 27 could read and 26 demonstrated clinically meaningful improvement in visual acuity, which was defined as the ability to read at least 2 additional lines on a standard eye chart. On average, participants' visual acuity improved by 5 lines, one improved by 12 lines. The participants used the prostheses in their daily lives to read books, food labels, and subway signs. Not the food subway, the actual like subway trains, okay? The glasses allowed them to adjust, read subway signs. The glasses allowed them to adjust contrast and brightness and magnify up to 12 times. See, that's what we just mentioned when we talk about, like televisions, okay? You can adjust the brightness, the contrast, and, zoom the screen out or change the, what they call it, the scale of a screen to make it look a certain way, right? To put the movie black box at the top or the bottom of the screen, or to take them off, or different functions and settings you can play around with. So it says the glasses allowed them to adjust contrast and brightness and magnify up to 12 times. Two-thirds reported medium to high user satisfaction with the device. 19 participants experienced side effects, including ocular hypertension. Look, check this out. This is what I mentioned from up above, right? High pressure in the, let me go back up real quick and see what he said. The device we imagined in 2005 now works in patients remarkably well. But now check this out. Where are we at? Right here. 19 participants experienced side effects, including ocular hypertension, high pressure in the eye, tears in the peripheral retina, and subretinal hemorrhage, blood collecting under the retina. None were life-threatening, and almost all resolved within 2 months. Okay, so clearly it's not working well like he said it was. When he says well, he's basically meaning that it works, but it doesn't work well as in it's a perfect device. It's not smooth sailing, okay? Because clearly the device works, but it doesn't work on a level that, they're trying to make people believe. Because otherwise, but this is why I always call these people, most when I'm speaking about the patients from Neuralink and Synchron, I call them guinea pigs. And that's what these people have become, okay? So I'm guessing they did animal testing and then they did the people testing. And guess what? As always, the first people that get tested, you're going to have problems and setbacks and so on and so forth. And so these people are just guinea pigs. Future visions. For now, the PRIMA device provides only black and white vision with no shades in between, but palanquin, so just straight black and white. No, because, when you transition from black to white, you'll get the gray tone, and it will be like different, dark gray, or very dark gray to a lighter dark gray to like a mid-level gray to a lighter gray to even lighter shade of gray. Then eventually you get white, and we go back the other way, you get the black, right? So there's nothing in between, just straight black and straight white, okay, with no shades in between. But Palantir is developing a software that will soon enable the full range I just mentioned, of grayscale, you see, of what we just basically explained. All right. Number one on the patient's wish list is reading, but number two, very close behind, is face recognition. He said and face recognition requires grayscale. So they want to be able to, I don't know. Well, it did say they're targeting this towards the elderly. So maybe your grandkids, you want to recognize your grandkids' faces and stuff like that, or whatever. I mean, you can just kind of use your imagination. There's different levels to that. All right. He is also in engineering chips that will offer high resolution vision. Resolution is limited by the size of pixels on the chip. Currently, the pixels are 100 microns wide with 378 pixels on each chip. The new version already tested in, wow, rats of all things. Okay, but I guess that's an easy test subject. But the new version, already tested in rats, may have pixels as small as 20 microns wide with 10,000 pixels on each chip. So someone who's familiar with this, type of jargon probably knows exactly what they're talking about. But I'm not, familiar with all the, that stuff. But anyways, I mean, I kind of get the idea what they're saying, but Paliker also wants to test the device for other types of blindness caused by lost photoreceptors. This is the first version of the chip, and resolution is relatively low. He said the next generation of the chip with smaller pixels will have better resolution and be paired with sleeker looking glasses. A chip with 20 micron pixels could give a patient 20/80 vision, Paliker said, but with electronic zoom, they could get close to 20/20, which is, if I'm correct on that scale, that's like the perfect vision or something like that. Good vision. Paliker affiliate, the Wooside Neuroscience Institute. Okay. I don't think we need to read any of this. Yeah. Okay, so that was pretty much the end of that. I don't think there's anything else down here. Stanford Medicine, yeah, that's pretty much it there. So yeah, going back to the top. Yep. So yeah, eye prosthesis is first to restore sight lost to macular degeneration. As a matter of fact, what I could just do this. Since we're done with that. So dry macular degeneration is an eye condition that causes blurred vision or reduced central vision. It is caused by the breakdown of a part of the retina known as the macula. The macula is responsible for central vision. This condition is common among people over 50. So it's pretty much straightforward, as I said, another thing. But I just want to pull it up anyways. I guess can I go back? Yeah, I'll leave that. So I want to, let me see here. Go to the top. Let me read this right here. Psalms 10:2. The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Okay. Now I'm kind of slightly going to a separate topic here, but not too far off, right? But I want to go into this word device again. Purpose, discretion, device, plot. All right, because referring to the article and the news clip or whatever, all right, that we just got through. I probably should have pulled up. We'll pull it up anyways. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. All right. But I want to read these couple of scriptures first. So Job 5:12 says he disappointed the devices of the crafty, speaking of Esau, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Ultimately, their new world order agenda, where they want to microchip everybody, a social credit scoring system, 15-minute cities, mass surveillance, the UBI, social credit scoring system. I think I just mentioned that. Whatever else I could think of, but also, their little device is the main thing. All right, it's probably the same word here. I thought of explaining because let me see, Revelation chapter 13. All right, is his ultimate game plan, his new world order, the enterprise. It says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell. All right, so he's going to control the food because he controls the money, and he's going to control the people because in order to get their money, to get the food, they have to comply with the digital system. Okay, and this is where we're cleaving to Yahweh Shema Shah about. All right, to have His Spirit upon us, to deny this man his device, okay, and not fall victim to it. It says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and 6. You have 666, which will be on his UPC, all right, the Universal Product Code, which will be on the devices that they're trying to create. Now, I'm not saying this is part of the bigger companies, as far as like Neuralink and Synchron or anybody else that may be out there, all right? But this falls in line with this vision of this new world, okay? It's not really a real vision, all right? It's a I don't even know how to call it, all right? It's not, it's not peaches and cream, bread and butter or whatever like Esau is going to push and is currently pushing to the people, okay? But let's just go over here to 2 Thessalonians 2, because I don't want to forget it. So even him who's coming is after the working of Satan. He's talking about the Edomites, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. All right, so they didn't take heed. The Israelites, we don't care about the rest of the people. The Israelites who didn't take heed to the word, okay, they're going to fall victim with the rest of the nations under Esau's system. And in this particular, topic we're talking about, his devices, okay, they're going to take his brain device, so for themselves or a family member is going to get it or whatever. They can walk, they can do this again, they can do that again, they can see, they can read again. And so, a lot of Israelites are going to be caught off guard by Esau's technology, all right, all his different things that he's offering. And he's making them seem what the key word that they always use is convenient, okay, and making things seem like it's making your life more easier, or it's helpful to you, all right. Which, yeah, Esau can create things that can be helpful to you, but the real key is behind why he's creating it, all right. It's not for people's well-being, okay. It's just that you're his guinea pig, okay, and he wants you to be his subjects forever, slaves forever, even his own people, okay. We'll get this real quick. Wonders. I'm gonna close out in a second. A project important, a little miracle performed by anyone. Okay, so giving back someone's vision is a miracle, but it's a fake miracle, man. It's not a real miracle. It's through his devices, man. It's technology. See, pseudos, a lie, in conscious and intentional falsehood, in a broad sense, whatever is not what it seems to be, a perverse and pious deceitful precepts. Okay, and this is what Esau is doing. He wants people to follow him and worship him as God, like it says up here in that verse 4. Okay, who oppose and exalt himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitting in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Okay, he wants to be the great I am, and the Lord is going to bring him down, all right, and bring him to justice. Okay, because he's only going to get the 2/3 and the rest of the nation, which includes his own people. But when it comes to the elect, he's not going to get the elect, because the story's not written that way. We know that because it's in the scriptures. Okay, so just a little quick AI chat there, reading into that I saw the what's the company called, PRIMA. Okay, and so restoring people's eyesight, their vision or whatever, which is no different from what you see in the companies Neuralink and Synchron. So just yet another company doing some of the same stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll leave it at that. Lord, will you edify? Shalom.